failures, 13 mistakes, 13 lessons, however you want to call them. Lesson number 1, I overestimated my ability and underestimated my commitment. Anytime you underperform, you overextend. Let me say that again. Anytime you underperform, you overextend the time it takes to win. Every time you wait for it to start, you extend the time it takes to finish, you guys. One of the biggest challenges in life is that most people never start, and when they do, they don't stay committed long enough to see results that can remotivate them to keep going. Everybody in this room prospects. Everybody makes calls. The difference is that the successful people do it longer. They do it when they don't feel like it. They do it whether it's good or it's bad. The other day it was raining, and we're trying to get ready for the marathon, and I'm like, man, I got to go run. And it's raining, and I don't want to run because it's raining. And you start justifying, right? Like, well, my mom said I shouldn't go outside and run in the rain because you can get sick, right? But you just don't want to go run, right? You're just making an excuse. There's always an excuse. There's always a reason. I love what Itzler said yesterday. He said, would you want you as a husband, as a wife, as a best friend, as an upline, as a coach? Patrick on a dream team call, I think it was a few weeks ago, maybe a month ago, he said, would you do well if you had an upline that was like you? And I thought about that. I said, man, I wouldn't be George. I wouldn't be who George is today if George was my upline. And sometimes, that's honest. You got to be honest with yourself because that's the point of change. When you're honest, you can start to change. Les Brown says, I don't think that a participant in life can be uncommitted. You're either committed to mediocrity or you're committed to success. Most people aren't committed. They're just committed in the wrong areas. Lesson number 2, I allowed quitting to be an option. We were running the marathon in Bakersfield. By the way, my first marathon was in Bakersfield. Who's from Bakersfield? I will never go run a marathon in Bakersfield again. I just want you guys to know. I was like a dry lake bed for 72 miles. I was like, come on, man, give me a beach or something. And we're running, and there's this couple with us. When you're running, I didn't know this. When you're running, if you have to put Band-Aids over your nipples. Anybody know that? It's weird. I know this is weird. You're like, this is a leadership message, right? Because it rubs so much that it starts to hurt. So then you put chapstick on your nipples. I'm not even playing. And so I'm running next to this couple, and they're like, oh, you want something like this Icy Hot spray with amber? And I'm like, oh yeah, give me some Icy Hot. I got Icy Hot chapstick on my nipples. It's a hot mess, man. One guy from Bakersfield showed up. Was he even here? He's not here. He was like a mile away. I was like, who the hell are you? He's like, I'm TGA. I said, man, you guys are everywhere. And so freaking funny. So mile 18, we get to mile 18, I'm freaking hurting. Halfway through the marathon, they start the uphill part, which makes no sense. But that's how life works. Sometimes right before, when you think I'm almost there. No, that's when you're really starting. And then we get to mile 18, and we see this couple that was running, it was a family, and they're with their family at mile 18, celebrating, oh, you did so good, you got to mile 18. And I'm like, you ran 18 miles to stop? And here's the biggest part about this part, right? I almost allowed quitting to be an option. Here's the biggest part about this part. The reason people quit is because they hang out with other people that already quit. Because the only people at mile 18, if I saw Fred running a marathon and he's at mile 18, he wants to quit, I'm going to punch him right in the face. I'm going to say, you better keep going. That's how he likes it from Jersey, right? No, I'm not like, you're not stopping. I'll go walk or run the next 7 miles with you. The reason we can quit is because we hang out with a lot of other people that quit. The struggle is temporary, but quitting lasts forever. Quitting lasts forever. You have to stop thinking that things can happen to you. I just don't know. I've applied to all these jobs, but nobody gives me a job. I've applied here, I'm trying, I'm doing my best. You gotta stop saying that stuff. That's the reason you are where you are. That's an emotion which is helpless. It's like you don't have any control over your life. The reason you're not winning is because you've relinquished that control and you think things happen to you instead of things happen because of you. That's not motivation. That's real stuff for some of the people in the room. That's why they're chasing another job or they're chasing another thing because they haven't committed. Number 3, I procrastinated. I love what Itzler said yesterday. I really love this talk. He says, how will this make me feel tomorrow? The biggest reason that we procrastinate Ben Franklin said, you may delay, but time will not. The biggest reason that we procrastinate, it's not that we don't know what we need to do. It's that in that moment, we've stopped thinking about the future. So when you ask yourself that question, like, how will this decision make me feel tomorrow? That gives you an insight to be able to make a better decision in the moment. Number 4, I let my ego get in the way. I let my ego get in the way. They say ego is the biggest enemy of humans. You know? Guys, all of us have an ego. It's the little voice that's inside your head most of the time. And yesterday, I brought a guest to the event. Right, push, I'm introducing, and I can see this wall that's up on this person. I'm trying to introduce them to Marlene and Erica and other people, and I see this wall that's up on this person, and it's like this ego that they're holding on to, because they're making $100-something thousand a year. And I'm like, these guys made $123,000 last month. Why are you hanging on to that? And here's why they're hanging on to it. Because that's their identity, and if they let go of their ego, right? There's no identity there. So a lot of times when you hold on to your ego, it's because of insecurity. But when you hold on to your ego, that means that that's the only person you can ever be. You kind of have to let go of the ego in order for a new person to show up. And she says, well, I love this business, right? This credit repair. Awesome girl. I think she could do something big. She says, I love this business. I said, you love the business because you've done it for 15 years. What part of loving, repairing credit, what part of that changes a person's life? The reason they got into credit problems is because they don't know how to manage money, they don't make enough money, or they have an identity issue. Right? So, but there's an ego there. And most of the time when you're trying to recruit somebody, the reason we don't, or you're trying to sit with a family, is because you got to get past that ego. Number 5, you got to get past your own ego. Number 5, too up and too down. Too up and too down, too emotional. Right? If it's something small that happens, Gaetan, I've gotten to know Gaetan. I've known Gaetan for a bit, but one thing about Gaetan that I've gotten to know more and more running events with Gaetan's always like this. Yes, DJ? like, it's okay, it's going to be good, we're just going to do this. Like, there's 1,500 people that we need to feed. It's okay, well, we're going to feed them. They're going to eat food. And he does a smile like this, right? But he's chill. He's calm. It's not like this, right? And I'm like, man, you know what? I'm a hothead. I gotta learn how to be more like this, right? Because it's stressful. Somebody told me never make a decision when you're down because it'll never be the best decision, right? So many times we make decisions when we're not doing good, when we're not feeling good, and we make a decision. You know what? I don't think this is for me. I don't think this is for me. I don't think entrepreneurship is for me. I don't think this business is for me. I don't think getting in shape is for me. I don't think I can do this. I don't think I can do that. Why? Because you're making a decision in a moment of pain or in a moment of discomfort, in a moment of a challenge. And in that moment, that's where you're being stretched. So of course it doesn't feel good. But that's where you're growing if you start to understand, like, wow, what feeling am I experiencing right now? And Patrick, The Obstacles, The Way This Month, phenomenal book. It says, what feeling are you feeling? Analyze that emotion, why that emotion's with you in that moment. Man, because it's fear, it's anger, it's this. Why? Because I'm scared. Most of the time it's fear, all right? And we got to learn how to control that. Number 6, I got comfortable with small wins. This is one of the biggest challenges for human beings. The moment we have shelter or food, we get comfortable. Right? Got comfortable making $100,000. There's a lot of people make $100,000 and they're comfortable because you can exist. Right? I don't look at money, guys, like, okay, wow, I can buy a car, I can buy a house. I look at money like time. If I can make $1 million a year versus $100,000 a year, then that means I can make in 1 year what would take me 10 or 12. I'm sorry. That's why I want to make more money, because I want more time. How many of you guys want more time? How many of you guys want more time? Right now, while we're here, one of my partners, one of my business partners, one of our MDs is in the hospital right now. Is his mother who got diagnosed with cancer, and they just took out her kidney the other day. He's there right now, this morning right now. Just got out of surgery. And you know what he said? He sent me all kinds of messages like, this is it. This is it. But why do we typically wait for something bad to happen before the best version of us shows up? Right? You're comfortable. And then you find out, man, I don't have any more time. This thing went by too quick. It happens for all of us. Everything exists in cycles, you guys. Nothing is permanent. Don't get attached. Don't get excited being number 1, and don't get too bummed out being number 12. Just get better. Number 7, I didn't close the door to other opportunities. You know, at some point, you got to close the door to other opportunities. You can't keep saying, well, I can kind of do this, and I can kind of do this, and I can kind of do this. It's a distraction. I'm telling you the mistakes I've made. I'm telling you the mistakes I made. Ricky said something in the meeting. He says, if you listen to your upline, you'll walk with peace. I said, man, anytime I've not had peace in my life, it's because I was not coachable. I kind of want to do my own thing. You know, like when you don't want to take your parents' advice? He's like, no, I'm just going to go. And eventually, you're like, shh, you should have listened to him. Right? Your upline is there to get your back. Right? You can always find a distraction if you're looking for one. Guys, if you want to find a reason to quit, I promise you you're going to find it. I promise you you're going to find it. I used to pray when I was driving. I was like, if my guest doesn't show up tonight, God, is that a sign that I'm supposed to quit? You can, right? Like Pat said on this, you're driving in like billboard, like, Kaiser Permanente, hire me. You're like, oh, that's a sign. And then like right across the street was like, never quit on your dream. You know? But we all find the signs we're looking for, right? Lost my fire. Lost my enthusiasm. Lost my excitement. It's one of the saddest feelings in the world is to be somewhere and not be excited about where you are. And here's what I'll tell you. Nobody wakes up, maybe some people do. I don't wake up excited, you guys. I don't wake up excited. I have to get myself excited. How many of you guys woke up tonight after 3-4 hours of sleep? You woke up today and you're like, wow! How many of you guys woke up and you're like, oh my God, I need to sleep more. God, I woke up and was like, oh, I wish it was Sunday. Right? And then I'm like, all right, bro, let's turn it on. All right, let's turn it on. We got to turn the car on. And the easiest way for me to turn it on is start thinking about the things I'm grateful for. Like, man, I can call my mom on the phone. Man, I'm in America. Man, I'm in this freaking beautiful hotel. Man, I got a business. Man, I'm an entrepreneur. Man, like, and I start going through that, and those things help me get outside of my natural pessimistic personality. Number 9, I stopped developing my faith. This is a big one. Somebody cheered on that one. They were cheering for faith. I get it. I understand, okay? God never gives a dream that matches your budget. He's not checking your checking account. He's checking your faith. Right? When I was the brokest, my DORs were the best. You know why? When I was the brokest, all I had was faith. I didn't have anything else. There was no logic. I was like, you know what it's like to go to the store and not know if you have enough money, right? And they're like, yeah. And that was me that day. I'm like, damn it. It was so emotional because I was living out, but I was living out the BOM. You know, the median income family, how are people living? We don't know. I'm like, I don't know how I'm living. I swear to God, the people, if you're an MD, you're doing MD, you're doing BOM, you know exactly what I'm talking about. You're like, how the hell do I sell these people the dream? But here's the part about I'm talking about this. I'm not talking about it from like, oh, I believe I can do this. I'm talking about from a sense of morality and goodness and making decisions and processing through them through a filter that you can live with yourself with. So it's important to do that. Last couple points real quick. Forgot to empty the cup. Guys, you got to open yourself up. You got to be willing to start over. Number 11, too soft on myself during the good times and too hard on myself during the bad times. You're never as bad as you think you are, and you're never as good as you think you are. You're typically somewhere in between. This one's good right here. You will never speak to anyone more than you speak to yourself, so be kind. Number 12, last one. Became too logical and stop believing. Believe where others doubt, work where others refuse, stay where others quit, and you will win where others lose. And the last one, you guys, the last one, I tried to be everybody else besides the one person I was meant to be, which is myself. Alright? Tried to be like that guy, like this guy. And at the end of the day, you realize, thank you for the 72 people that clapped out of 1,000. I appreciate that. Listen, guys. Patrick told me something, and I'm like, you're crazy. You know how Patrick tells you something, you're like, that made no sense whatsoever. But then for like 72 days, you don't forget it. That's how it is. He says, you got an issue with perfection. I said, I'm not a perfectionist. He says, you're a perfectionist. No, I'm not a perfectionist, Pat. He says, you're a perfectionist. And he tells me, I'm like, whatever, I'm thinking in my head, right? And then I look at it, I'm like, man, why do I have a problem like exposing my weaknesses? Maybe because I think I'm supposed to be perfect. So that's why that's why I'm not vulnerable. It's an issue that I've dealt with for a very long time. Being more vulnerable, right? But you gotta get to know yourself. I tried to be everybody else besides myself. You were born an original, Don't die a copy. Go become the best version of yourself. Make a decision in this event. God bless you guys. Thank you.